I grew up with my father. And when my parents divorced, they made the decision that my sister, brother, and I would live with our dad. And so I was raised with our father as a single parent, and then later with my stepmother when I was around 11 years old. And that relationship was one where my father was really clear because my mother, we had a relationship with our mother, and he wanted to make sure that we were clear that we had a mom. So my stepmother's role was more as like friend and guide, but it was very clear that our dad was our parent. And out of that time, I uh, really missed having a mom and having someone, I didn't know of a lot of people who were growing up without their mother. And because of that, I similarly started to give what I wish I'd had when I was going through the changes that my body was going through, my emotions, my hormones, boys, and all of that. And so I tried to give that to my sister because it was something that I hadn't had. So I wanted to talk about that for a moment, if you're willing, to talk a little bit about, because I think that an experience that actually it does happen. I mean, I don't know how commonplace it is, but I think that it is common for young women to be at that age, that 13, 14, that between 11 and 14, 15, where for whatever reason, even if they have a mother at home, it's an age, I think, where in my experience, there comes a time where young women feel somewhat alone and like they're looking for guidance and support and help through what's happening in their lives. And I know for me, part of the work that I'm doing is to hopefully help to fill some of that gap. And I know that you're doing the same thing with the work that you're doing. So is there anything that you would say to a young person who might be experiencing the same thing?
I think it's different for everybody. It depends on their circumstances. But what I will say is that even with a mother being gone, you are enough. You're not missing anything. You were born with everything that you need, and your mother was with you for the time that she needed to be with you, to guide you for the time that she needed to guide you. And that's what I learned. It took years to get to that place. But I remember when I was young, my mother sat me down. I guess, I don't know in her spirit if she knew, but she sat down and told me everything. Too much for a kid to know. About sex, about my period, about life. We sat on the floor in her bedroom, and she had a beautiful closet. My mom was a glam girl. I was never that girl. And she sat me down and she said, "Let me tell you about boys." And she told me all the things about boys. And she even sat me down one day. My uncle was a weed smoker back in the day. And she said, "I want you to smoke a cigarette. I want you to smoke a weed. And I want you to drink this. I want you to know what it feels like so you'll never do it again." So it was like she knew in her soul that she wasn't going to be around. And so we have to look for those divine guidances that our parents gave us before they left this earth. And just know truly what I would tell a young girl is that you have everything you need. She gave you all that she had to give, no matter how she passed away. That was all. It's everybody's destiny to go to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people go earlier. Sometimes people go through childbirth. But I promise you, one, you have everything that you need. And two, she's always with you. I talked to my mother this morning. My mom is still with me, and I can see her influence on me. I look in the mirror and I see her. So she's always there. So I think the important thing to know that a girl going through that and at 13 or 12 or whatever age is that know that she gave you everything you needed to succeed in life.
And I think that's important wisdom for any age. that we might be at, even once we get into adulthood. Because I think that when someone is gone, sometimes we have a fantasy about what our life might be like with that person, if that person were still here. And ultimately, I think the life lesson that all of us are presented with the opportunity to receive is that we really do have everything that we need, and that life has a way, both the people in our lives, our caretakers, and the universe, everything that's, coming together and forming to uh, influence our life experience. It all kind of comes together to help us from one moment to the next, from one journey, one chapter to the next chapter. And so we really do have what we need, even when what we want may not be present for us.